Hi, welcome back to Wagon 84 here at Donegal Railway Heritage Centre. We're back on the Pettigo Layout here. This week we're going to be fitting a DC Shuttle to the station area. So we're going to be fitting a DC Shuttle to this line so we can have something shuttling backwards and forwards on the station, because the other line is the through line that the other train just carries on through. So we'll look at the unit I'm going to use and how we wire it in. So this is the unit we're going to use. It's a simple DC Shuttle and it's controlled by using diodes. So it's simply power in this side, power out that side to the track, and we use the diodes across cuts we put into the track. I'll show you on the diagram here. As you can see, power in, power out to the track. On the same rail, we put a cut in the track, put the diode across it. And it's important that you note that the diodes have a white band at one end, so they need to be put in a certain direction, or else the shuttle just won't work. Also, what we need to do on the actual layout is we'll need to put a cut in the tracks across here, so this bit of track is completely isolated from the rest of the layout. So let's get on with that. So as you can see, I've cut through the join in the track there, so it's gone straight through the fish plate, so this isolates this section. I've also done the same at this end. You can see just where the join in the track was, I've just cut through the fish plates there. So this section is completely isolated from the rest of the layout. Now looking at this length is made up of two pieces of track, and they're joined here, as you can see. So I don't need to put any additional droppers on, because there is a feed here which I'll use for the shuttle. But what I will have to do is decide where I'm going to put a cut in this rail and solder the diode across it. Now because I'm retrofitting this to an existing layout, if you're putting in a new layout, then obviously you wouldn't need to do this cut. You would just put in some insulating fish plates. So let's start wiring it up. So as you can see here on the shuttle unit, we've got the first bit of the wiring done. We've got the power coming in, which is coming from a normal 12 volt DC controller. And then we have the droppers from the track coming into the other side. Now, if you're using a bus wire, then you could put those in. So if you have several droppers on the bit of track you're using the shuttle on, you can just connect the bus straight into this. And you can see the LEDs on there as they're changing. That is changing the direction of the current flow to change the direction of the actual loco on the track. And we adjust the timings with this little screw here, but we'll look more at that when we have the diodes on and have it up for testing. So before we put the diodes in place, we'll just check that the track's working. So we'll put a loco in place, and you can see it goes off, and it'll go as far as the track where we put the cuts, and then you can see the cuts are just there. It's gone past that, so there's no power in that piece, so it stops dead. So we put it on again. You see it goes and stops. Now if we give it a minute or two, the current flow will change. So when I put it on the track, it should start going the other direction. It still wants to go that way. What we can do is just push it back. Now the whole idea of this unit is we can adjust the timings on it. So if you short a piece of track, you can say, right, it'll take 30 seconds before the current swaps back, and then it'll start shuttling backwards again. There we go, you can see it's going the other direction now. And it'll go through past the cuts in the track again, and it's stopped. So now we'll have a look at where we're going to put the diodes for the cutout. So we need to decide where we're going to put the cut in the track to put the diode across it to control the shuttle. So we bring in a loco, similar in size to the one that's going to be shuttling on here. Put it up towards the cut in the track here, and then we can see we'll want to put the cut in the track here, so when the loco passes past that cut, power's cut, and the loco stops. So we're going to put the cut just about there. I'm just going to put my tip of my screwdriver there, just so I know I'm going to cut it there. I'll move this out of the way. Remember, you want to cut the rail on both sides at either end of the shuttle. We get our Dremel. Make sure you have safety glasses on. And just cut through the rail. And we'll just check to make sure, yes, the rail is cut. So we got the cut rail. The diode's going to fit across there. Remember to wire the diode as it says in the diagram. So we've got the white end of the diode is going to go across the gap like so. And it'd be the same the other end. The diode will go in the same direction. Now we're going to solder that on there. Before we do that, we need to clean up the side of the rail. So I've got this little pen. You just turn the end and some brass bristles come out. It's quite a handy little thing, and I'm just going to use that just to clean off the rail so it gives good contact for the solder. If you need to, you can use a little screwdriver just to clear away any ballast that might be in the way. And I'll just get that cleaned so you have a good surface. You can also use a brass attachment to a Dremel as well, just to give it a clean. Yeah, that's taken all the paint and weathering off there and cleaned it up, so now I've got a good surface for the solder to adhere to. So I've put some flux along the rails here. Just makes it easier to solder, I find. We'll put the diode in place. So we're putting the diode actually across the gap. And we want to tin our soldering iron. So let's give that a bit of a clean. So we got a nice silvery tip now for the solder, and we just want to make sure that that's bent in to meet the rails. And the trick is not to burn your fingers. Now you don't want to keep the soldering iron in position too long because it can melt the sleepers. Solder it in place, let the solder grab it. There we are, that's fixed in place. Now we'll just bend the next side so it's up close to the rail, and repeat the process. Now, because I'm retrofitting this, the diode's going on here. If I was fitting this in on a brand new layout and I was laying fresh track, and what I do is put a dropper either side of the rail and have the diode underneath so you wouldn't see it. Now with it here, we can just put a little bit of ballast around it or a little bush or something just to help hide it. It's all feeding into rail. I'm just going to put a bit more this side. There we are, and now let that go hard, and then I'll just snip off the ends here to tidy it up. And as you can see, there's a little bit of solder on the rail there, so I'll just clean that off with a file. and make sure it's all a good fit. So the diodes are in at both ends now. Across the cuts, the diodes are both pointing the same direction. Here's the other one. The solder has been filed off, so the rails are nice and level and clean. Always, when you're doing this sort of work, soldering on your track, make sure your track power is disconnected, because you don't want to blow anything. So we'll stick a local one and see how it goes. So it goes off, goes past the diode. Now, when we look down here, it's reversed and it's going back the other way. And we can see we've got two red lights there, so they should swap around. Now this is where we need to do the adjustments for the timing. I think this timing is probably a little bit too long, so we'll just wait till those LEDs change, and then we can get a screwdriver and we can adjust the timing. Oh, the anticipation. So we should get, that should change from two reds to a red and a green. And you can adjust the timing on this, I think, from about 10 seconds to about 3-4 minutes. See, as you can see, that's already way too long, because here it's changing, and now it's going up the other way, gets past the diode and stops. So I'm going to get a screwdriver and adjust the timings. So we get a screwdriver and we just adjust this little screw here. And that'll adjust the timings. We're going to need to turn it a little bit. It's changed. Now we'll let it run down the end. We'll hear it stop. And we'll just see how long before it changes again. This can be the fiddly bit, but once you have this adjusted, that's it set. You don't need to touch it again. Again, see, that's a little bit too long, so I'll give it another little nudge. Okay, so I was turning it the wrong way, so to decrease the time it's actually clockwise. We'll see how that goes. And down the end. See how long it stops for. I think it needs a little bit decreased again. So what I'm going to do, instead of boring you all to death by doing this on camera, is I will do the fiddling off camera, get it working, and then show you the end result. There we go. After a bit of fiddling around, it now sits for about 6 seconds, trundles down, stops again for about 5-6 seconds, and then goes back up again. So that keeps a little bit of movement in the station while the other train is going around the complete loop. So I think you find that shuttle is quite useful, very simple to wire up. Probably took me about 45 minutes to an hour to install it. It's quite simple. Power to the actual unit, from the unit to the track. Put your cuts where you want the loco to stop, put the diodes across it. Make sure the diodes are in the same direction on both cuts, and then just do the adjustment, and you've got a little shuttle working. So you can easily, as you've seen here, retrofit it to an existing layout. If you're building a new layout or a new section, you can make it a lot neater by putting drop bore wires underneath the track, so everything's hidden underneath the baseboard. But this will just add a an extra little bit of interest here in the museum. So I hope you find that useful, installing a little simple DC shuttle. Don't forget to check out my channel members down below. The links to their channels are in the description below. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.